when we touch upon Kishkinda and we continue the journey, therein we meet Sampati. Sampati tells this is what happened and this is probably the path. And that leads to Ram Sethu. So if you can talk at length on Ram Sethu.
So Ram Sethu has very interesting parallels. So there are 2-3 stories which I always like about Ram Sethu, and because they are very different, meanings and lessons for us. So one is the whole Ram Sethu has been built, and it is not so strong. So everybody is worried who will cross. So everybody is like, you go first. So Rama says, okay, you built for me, so let me go first. So Rama, as soon as he keeps the first step on Ram Sethu, it becomes solid. And it becomes what they call as, 1 yojan by 10 yojan. So 1 yojan is around 3.5 kilometers. So it is 3.5 kilometers width and 35 kilometers length. And it becomes solid. And all these people cross and everybody is happy. So Ram Sethu takes 7 days to build. 7 or 14, I'm sorry, I lost the count, but day and night they work. So Jamwant at the other side, when they reach, he smiles and says, Prabhu, it is your Leela. And if you could have done this, you should have done before. Why did you make us slog everybody? And Rama has a very interesting answer for that. He says, I can only amplify your efforts. So he says, I can only amplify your efforts. So if it is 0, I'll only amplify 0. But you do 10, then I can make it 100. And that is what I keep telling people. We have to take the first step. We have to have the first step of leap of faith. Once you take the leap of faith and take the first step, he is there to take you further. He will guide you, he will nurture you, he will give you all the strength, he will give you all the resources. But if we sleep in the bed and don't get up and say, you do it, then he will only amplify the 0 to 0. The second story is very interesting. Everybody is building Ram Sethu. So Rama says, sitting there on the one side, he feels very guilty. So everybody is doing something, including the squirrel. So the famous squirrel story. The squirrel is also putting with her little hands the sand. And everybody are joking and making fun of the squirrel, saying, you will get under our legs now one of these times. And Rama comes and tells, no, she is contributing her thing and I appreciate. And he takes his hand over her thing, and those are the stripes that we see on squirrels. So he feels very guilty, saying, everybody is doing something, including the squirrel. I am sitting and not doing anything. And so he takes a stone and he also tries to put. The moment Rama puts his stone, so all of the stones are floating. But Rama's stone goes and drowns. Now Rama is embarrassed. He's saying, what is this? Everybody is floating and my stone is like. And that is when there is a very interesting poem written around it. It says, you are the epitome of Dharma. So if anything that falls from your hand has to sink. So he says, you are Dharma. Right? If Dharma lets go of anything, then it has to sink. So it was bound to happen, you let go of it. And that is something very important for us to remember. If we let go of Dharma, then we are bound to sink. There is no way that we can survive. There is no way we can make glory or leave a legacy. And that is very critical for today and for all of us in this generation to understand. Because many times we believe that little shortcuts that we take, nobody is seeing us, nobody is knowing, or nobody gets to know. It is very easy for me to make an anonymous profile on social media and write and troll people and think, oh, that was a great thing. But anything that we do adharmic is getting accounted for. And somebody someday will come and put those balance sheet in front of us. And this story amplifies that, saying you let go of Dharma and you will sing for that. The other very interesting story is once the Ram Sethu has been built, then Rama says, I want to do puja before we go to the war. So they says, okay. So he builds the Shivling, which is there in Rameshwaram even today.
He builds it.
In the sense he puts together the sand thing and he builds. Then he says, I need a pandit to do the puja. And he sets a criteria, saying this person should be very good in Vedas and Vedanta. He should be the Shiv Bhakt and he should be able to do. Then they look around and say in 100-kilometer radius, there is only one person who qualifies for that, and that is Ravan. So Ram says, okay, please get Ravan to do the puja and then we'll do. And everybody is stunned, saying, why will Ravan come and do puja for his own downfall? So, so why will he do? He says, no, but he's the most qualified, so he has to do the puja. So Jamvanti is interested with this job. So Jamvan goes to Ravana and says, like this, my lord has built this shivling, we want to do Shiv puja, there is nobody better qualified than you, so why don't you come and do the puja? And Ravan smiles and says, are you mad? Why will I do it? So and Jaman very cheapishly says, no, I am not talking Ravan the king, I am talking Ravan the Brahman. So as a Brahman, you have the Dharma, and I'm appealing to that. So Ravan doesn't have an answer. He says, okay, yes. But Ravan being Ravan very smartly says, okay, I am ready to do the puja, but I believe your Lord doesn't have a wife to sit in the puja, and puja can only happen if the husband and wife sit. So she doesn't have it. And at that time again, Jaman very smilingly says, it is the Brahmin's duty to get all the samagri that is required for the puja. So I hope you will get all the required samagri, so I don't have to worry. And Ravan actually takes Sita.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Ravan actually takes Sita to the puja. And after the puja, again Ravan tells her, come back and sit in the chariot. And he says, if your dear husband has the power, then let him come and take you. Interestingly, after the puja, when both Ram and Sita touch his feet, he says, Yashashvi Bhava. So whatever this puja you have decided for, may you win it. And that puja is for the downfall of him in Lanka. And yet he says, do it because he is following the Dharma of a Brahmin. So Ram Sethu is very interesting parallelisms like this. So it's not about just building a bridge and doing it. You will find a lot of stories around Seva, a lot of stories around Dharma, a lot of stories around that, which actually exemplifies why that bridge is so important for all of us to understand. The other interesting story is when everything is done, Vibhishan is made the king of Lanka and Rama is going back and everything is done. Then Vibhishan says, I have one small request. So Rama says, what it is? He says, can you sing the Ram Sethu? So Ram is surprised. This is, why do you want me to sing it? And Vibhishan says, no, there are many people who are still alive and are great followers of Ravana. So I fear they will use this bridge to come to Ayodhya and make your life and your subjects' life very exciting. I don't want that to happen, so can you sing it? And Rama says, okay, because as a friend I promise you I'll do it. So he sings the Ram Sethu. Now the big lesson for there is how many of us in today's world are ready to let go of a legacy. So whatever we've created, we want to stick to it, whether it is relevant, irrelevant, expiry date, but we don't want to let go. We just stick. So it is sung, and it is Rama who sung it. So he was ready to let go of his legacy. He was ready to let go of everything. And that is a big lesson for all of us. Can we let go of our legacy to be able to create space for others, or are we going to get stuck and, keep saying, this is mine, this is how I did, please stick to this, don't change this, and all that.
My next question to you is getting back Sita from Lanka.
So there are interesting stories around that. And so the first big myth we need to bust is Ram never asked Sita to do Agni Pariksha. So Ram says to Sita, you've been away for a year, and so it is your choice. Do you want to come back to me, or do you want to do something else? In a way, it is about. So there is, so that's the Leela between the gods to make things happen. What would be the next course of things? So there is this commentary is written which clearly say ki Ram and Sita were both aware ki people would have questions, saying ki she was away for a year. We don't know what she did there, and should we accept her as a queen? So she has to do something which will prove that she is pious. And so Sita says, ki, I am perfectly okay to prove it to you, and not only to you, but to all those who have possible suspicion. So she never says, I want to prove it to you. She says, to all those who have suspicion, let me do it. And she walks through the fire. Now, interestingly, there are two stories that are very different view that they give you. One is in the Maya Sita. So there is this whole parallel story that runs of Maya Sita. So Maya Sita is basically the one who was the one who took Sita's role and went into Lanka. And when Sita goes through this fire, the Maya Sita stays in the fire and the actual Sita comes out. That is there. The most beautiful story for me about that thing is in Khumbumattu. And in Khumbumattu, it's very interesting. So Sita is completely decorated and all that. So she's having this garland of fresh flowers. And the flowers are so fresh, so there are bees in those flowers. So when she's entering the fire, she tells the bees, please go away because I'm entering the fire. And the bees smile at her and says, as much belief as you have in yourself, we have belief in you. So we are not going anywhere. And she walks with those flowers and the bees into the fire and comes out. And those flowers are intact and the bees are intact. And for me, that is the most beautiful and touching part of the whole Ramayana, where it talks about we need to have belief in our belief. Today we don't believe our beliefs. So So, and even if we have 10 different, very whimsical, some 10 different people will put some different posts, and then we change our view, change our opinion. Suddenly we decide to become from extreme right to extreme left, and we do all. We don't have a belief system. But in Khumbumattu, it's very beautifully articulated in that poem, where it is there. And then Sita comes back, and the whole thing is the coronation is where the Valmiki Ramayana typically ends. And then the Uttarakhand comes, which is very debatable. So Uttarakhand is debated by scholars across the world, whether it was written by Valmiki, whether it got added later, because the grammar is different, the reference points are very different, and it doesn't end. But Sita, that conversation between Rama and Sita is very interesting. And so Rama says, I never had a doubt on Sita because if I am the sun, she is the sunshine. If I am the moon, she is the moonshine. So we never had doubt on each other. It is for the other outside world, which is naive and they need answers. That's why we did this. So that is a very clear-cut stated in all the Ramayans.
Well, it is said for the rest of the world, they are not giving answers.
Yes.
But since they are so pure, and since they are queen and the king, why do they even have to give answers?
So one of the interesting things is, if you look at the parallels of Dharma, one of the things that is written is the king and his family will not be subject to ridicule or gossip. If they are subject to ridicule or gossip, then they lose the moral right to rule. So that is one of the what we say principles that is mentioned. And to qualify for that principle, this whole exercise happens, where you need to answer, or where you need to have that clarity to go back and say ki they will not be subject to ridicule or gossip just because he stayed for a year away from the husband. So people will have questions because nobody knows what has happened. And till that time, Ravana had this reputation that whomever he wanted to influence had got influenced.
And he
So
had many wives.
many things. So many wives. He forced himself on many people, from Rambha, who happens to be his daughter-in-law, to others he had forced. So that why that reputation is there. So and then she stayed for a year there in Ashok Vatika, which was completely cut off from the world. So nobody knew what happened inside. And hence those questions would arise, is the hypothetical position for which they went through this whole Leela.
Before I move to my next question, is here she does the Agni Pariksha as after she comes back to Ayodhya. Then when she has, before she's giving birth to Love and Kush, she's sent up to Valmiki's hut.
Yes.
Why is that?
Okay, so I'll give you both the answers. So one answer is very interestingly written in one of the poems is when she was a young 14-year-old girl and she was going through in the garden, Sita. So she has these powers to hear the language of birds and animals. So she understands that. And she hears these two parrots on a tree talking, oh, this beautiful girl will go through so many hardships. So she's very curious. So she catches up these two parrots and tells, okay, please tell me what is my future and what hardships I'm going to go through. But the parrot says, no, we can't tell you that because that will change the course of the time if we tell you what is happening in the future. She says, I don't believe in all this, and she puts them in a cage. So, and after in the evening, what happens is when she's again coming for her walk, the male parrot in the cage tells her, okay, my partner, who's the female, she's expecting a baby and she's not eaten since morning. So, can you please let go of me? I'll get some food. I promise you I'll come back. So, she is a nice, sweet girl. So, she opens the cage. The male parrot goes to get the food. When the female parrot opens her eyes and she doesn't see her husband, she gets shocked. She feels her husband has abandoned her. And in that grief, she dies, and so does the baby in her, the baby she's carrying. So when the male parrot comes back, he curses Sita, saying, what you've done is not right. So when you're also expecting your child, you will not be with your loving husband, like I was not there. And that karma comes to play here. So when that male parrot goes, he goes and does suicide in the Sarayu river. And he in his next lifetime comes at that Bhubi, who's actually gossiping about her. And that is how the story gets interlined, saying ki karma will come back to you and karma will play a role. And that is why that Bhubi gossips. And since Rama has to follow the Dharma that nobody will be ridiculed or gossip, he lets go of Sita. Now again, there is this all myth that he let go of Sita, meaning he just, it's not like that. He actually tells Lakshman very clearly to take care of her, and she is dropped outside the Valmiki's ashram. So it's not like that she's going here, there and all that. And then in Valmiki's ashram, she gives birth to Love and Kush. So that is how the story goes. So one of the reasons why it has happened is, it is that karma of that parrot which has come back. Is one of the stories that goes along.
Rama has Maryada Purush, as we know him.
So Rama has Maryada Purush, a simple reason is because he does have all these traits. Starting from, he is the one who follows Dharma. He is the one who exemplifies Tyag. He is the one who exemplifies seva. He is the one who exemplifies the qualities of, not being greedy. So there is no lobha in him. When he's told to let go of his kingdom, he let go. He doesn't have any, he doesn't say, oh, I thought this, I thought that, and all that. So he's called Maryada Purushottam because he exemplifies what a ideal person should be and how one should be dutiful. So how much importance to duty and why duty overcomes or should overcome desire is what Rama exemplifies. And how grounded all the time. So he doesn't have any hesitation asking help from Subri or asking help from Hanuman or even asking help from Lakshman. He doesn't hesitate. He has complete humility to go back and say, I don't know this, can you please help me with this? And he's ever grateful to each one of them when they go and help him. So Kumar Vishwas, like very beautifully he writes or he says in his poem is, Ram, one gaye to ban gaye. And he keeps reminding us that he went to the forest, he went as a Prince Ram, and he came out as Maryada Purushottam. So, wo ban gaye Maryada Purushottam. I always summarize Ramayana in one word, and that is one line one. When you talk Maryada Purushottam, if you loosely translate it, it is nothing but how can you have dignity in the face of adversity? And that is for me Maryada Purushottam. So if you look at Rama throughout his journey, starting however the situation adverse was. So the situation only become more and more adverse as he ages and more dignified he becomes. Whereas in our lives, if you see, it is reverse of us. You and me are extremely dignified in this AC room having these conversations. And so is the other humanity around us. But you saw what people did during COVID, right? The whole dignity went out of window. When the adversity came, people broke all possible rules. People did everything that they are not supposed to do. We were okay bribing doctors. We were okay getting those oxygen cylinders. We were okay pulling our strings. We were okay forgetting who neighbors were. And that is what Ramayana and Rama teaches us. When adversity will come, will you let go of this dignity that you have, or will you stick to it and only personify it more? And that is why he's called Maryada Purushottam. How much ever adversity he was, he gave. There's a very interesting story at the end of the first day battle between Rama and Ravana. Ravana says, don't carry the dead bodies of our dead soldiers. He says the morale of Lankans will come down. If they see so many people died, so he says, leave the dead bodies there and take a few and just go back. Ravana says that. And when Rama is going to look at all the people who have died, he says, let us give them a dignified farewell. And they're lighting fires. And Ram is picking up even dead bodies of Ravanas. And Vibhishan and Hanuman and Lakshman are petrified. They get angry. They say, what nonsense. These are our enemies. Why you want to do the sanskar of them? So he says, no, they were enemy till the time they were fighting. Now they are dead. It doesn't matter. And in fact, there are poems written on that saying how even Lankan army, all those people got moksha because Vishnu himself gave them the sanskar. So the all doors of Vaikuntha opened and even they went to Vaikuntha. And he does for everybody. He doesn't go back and say, this is mine, this is yours, this is this, this is that. In fact, in one of the versions of Ramayana, Indra comes after the war is done and Indra asks Ram, saying, you won the war, you put Dharma in place, what is that one thing that I can gift you? And Rama says, all the people who died from both the sides, can you give their lives back? He again never asks for himself. And he is ready to go through that. And that is what makes him a Maryada Purushottam. And there are hundreds of instances like that where you see him, the way he conducts himself. It's always with dignity. And I think that is something which we need to remember all the time. Can we be dignified in our conduct? Can we come across as somebody who's up there, setting standards, rather than trying to look for shortcuts and, look at short-term gains?
While they may have climbed to the hierarchy of a CEO or a vice president, still fall prey to all these shortcuts, one-upmanship. What do you have to say to that?
So that is the beauty of Maya. So Maya is equally good at a job, right? Because Vishnu himself is Mayapati. So she is like, so she does that job. So the challenge is like this: pop psychology will always create a feeling that what you have is not enough, and what you have is not going to be permanent. So that creates a paranoia in you to go and believe that you need to be always safeguarding what is yours. And to safeguard that, you need more. So, because see, today if I'm at 80, you are at 70, right? I'm feeling safe. But tomorrow when I see you at 79, then I need to be at 90 to make you again feel down, right? So every time when I'm feeling satisfied, I think I've reached the peak, the new mountain comes in. Why? Because you've already climbed the old mountain along with me. And that is what keeps me that paranoid and keeps me in that cycle of constantly going for more and more. And pop psychology does that. And there are very few people who've been able to detach and operate. So there are few people like Ratan Tata whom you see. He could have also done things which what others have done, but yet he detached himself and say, this is enough for me. Or say somebody like Dr. Abdul Kalam, right? If you look at Dr. Abdul Kalam's will at the time of his death, I think two pants and 7 shirts it was, and some 6 books, and that was one trunk. Now those are the people who were in that, as I say, lucky are those or privileged are those who can find music in the noise around. So today we all get distracted by that noise. And the more you are in the big corporates, the more you are in that boardroom, the more you are there, that noise is very, very seductive. It keeps you distracted. It keeps you tantalizing. It keeps you only wanting more and more. And that is where the challenge lies. And that's a very good job of pop psychology. They're extremely good at that. And that is what they'll keep doing it. So you need to be aware.
And not get
Not get used by that. And that awareness is something some of us have and some of us have lost. And that is there. The day you realize, you realize why is it called Maya? Why is it called that whole thing, So the beauty is when you're in that space, you get that feeling, I am controlling the world. I am the center of power, not realizing that things will move in a friction. And so we forget that the baton has been passed to us and we will pass this baton to somebody else. So it's a transit. So in that transit, what you do and how much you can carry, something your self-awareness should tell you that.
Somewhere we get lost.
Absolutely. Because like I always have this, funny way of telling things so that people understand it. I always say that in Vaikunt, God doesn't want crowd. So he ensures that only very few people qualify every year to come there. And that's why he keeps sending these unit tests, semester, all these exams to us in form of Maya. Saying, okay, he's failed, so let him stay here for another one cycle, and only a few people go up.
And it goes too soon.
So the idea is these tests will keep coming. And one of the ways of purification is to be able to overcome that temptation all the time and yet stick to your path.
Last question. I wanted to speak on Dharma and Adharma and correlated to Operation Sindoor.
So it's interesting. So when you look at it, was it dharmic of what we did? The answer is absolute yes. Because we didn't start it. Ha. Yes. Yeah. So dharma is what? The dharma is your ability to stand for what is right, even though however inconvenient it is. So at night, 11 o'clock, you're in a tearing hurry to go home because your spouse is waiting, there is a dinner waiting, and you see a red signal. There is no traffic, there is no policeman, there is no CCTV camera. And if you decide to stay for the red signal to turn green, then you're following dharma. If you decide to skip it because nobody is looking at it, then it is as simple as that. You've been adharmic about it. So dharma is able to stand for what is right. It doesn't matter how easy, how inconvenient it is, you still stick to it. Many of us in our real life want to compromise on that. Why? Because today we give great, what we say, convenience over convention is our motto. So convention we don't want to follow. We want to give preference to convenience. And if it is convenient, I'll follow dharma. If it is not, I will park dharma and say, okay, oh, that is all theory. This is all professorial. This is not real life. You're not practical. So I get that comment even today. Srini, you're not practical. You don't understand. This is not how it works and all that. So I say that is your convenience. So it's up to you for to do that. So that is at our day-to-day parallels. When you look at Operation Sindoor and you put some of these principles in place, we followed what was Dharma. Starting from the fact we didn't start the attack, to the thing that we said we kept it limited. And that's a very courageous thing what we did. Meaning the popular demand was so high that you rampage the whole of Pakistan and get back POK and all that. Yet we showed restraint saying, we will only limit the attack to those facts. They were very and we even didn't go and attack the basic infrastructure which would have done. Put a few dams down, put a few factories down. We didn't do any of those. We just went to those things. Yes. True, the fact of the matter is, even the 1 or 2 prisoners of war we got, we released them with full dignity. We didn't keep them, harass them like what they've done with Sarabjit or others. We didn't do anything. We could have had 100 reasons to justify to show that. In fact, interestingly, in some of the Australian and other defense analysts, they said that none of the Indian planes actually crossed the international borders. Only the missiles went. So we took care of that also. So what is thing is, when you look from the principles of the Dharma, we did what it was required. And people say, oh, should we have attacked this, that and all that? And that is not our philosophy. That's a very big mythical thing. If you look at all our gods, whoever we believe, you will see them having multiple hands, and multiple hands will show that they carry weapons. Right? In fact, how does saffron color come? Saffron is a product of yellow and red. When you mix yellow and red, that is when you get that orange, saffronish color. Yellow stands for your prosperity, healthy, and that's why we put in your legs and all that. Lakshmi, you come and all that. And red stands for blood. So the Rishi Munis all have been trained for that. Even the gods have been trained for that. So proportion of yellow is more and red is less to bring that saffron color. But red is there. So Dharma says that if somebody is adharmic and trying to do injustice to you, you don't have to lie down and get killed. You will protect yourself. You will fight your battles. In fact, there is that a very interesting story of that snake and saint. So there is a sage in his ashram. There is a snake. So that's every time disciples are coming, the snake is all hissing, pissing, and all that. People get scared, run away. Somebody comes. So the saint gets upset, and the sage says, "What nonsense is this? You're scaring away everybody. Can't you just lie low?" So the snake decides to lie low. So the volunteers come, they see this snake, it's not doing anything, they beat it. They're scared and they beat it and all. So the saint comes in the evening and says, it's beaten snake almost about to die. It's nursing the snake. And the saint says, what nonsense have you done? So the snake is complaining to the sage. You only correlate to lie. So he says, I asked you to lie low, but I never asked you to stop the thing. Right? So he says, you will protect yourself. You don't have to go and bite people and chase them. But you can, if somebody is coming to hit you, you can always hiss and scare them away. And that is what it is. So that saffron color, or you see that Sudarshan Chakra with a Vishnu or Hanuman carrying his Gada, it's very clearly indicative. Okay? If you walk into me, what is mine, and try to play mischief, I will protect. And Dharma is perfectly good with them. Dharma doesn't say you have to lie low and take a beating. No. Dharma says you will protect yourself. Adharma is when I go and steal something without my dutiful right. And that is what it is. So what we've done is a fantastic case study actually. If somebody can write and publish how the principles of Dharma were followed, it is very interesting.
While the BJP government, Modi government, reacted because he came and attacked our 26 civilians. There's a lot of muck going around from the opposition saying, "Why did we do it? When we were at the war, we kept saying de-escalate, and then this one of the opposition leaders saying Narendra surrender." Which is chalking low not just of the government but the armed forces.
Yes. So it is like this. We all have ideologies in life, and we also have our influencers. So if you look at the defense analysts, and when you check with them, why did this happen in the first place? And they say there is a direct correlation between companies moving away from China to India. So Trump tariffs made China unviable. Companies like Apple, Samsung have all declared they're moving all their big factories to India. And China wanted to showcase to the world that India is not a safe place to do. And it used Pakistan to provoke. Now, there are enough reports to show the same China is also using a lot of influencers and parties around. And history is recorded that how Russia manipulated India and Indian politicians when Lal Bahadur Shastri, Netaji and others there. These are all documented in past files and others, and one can read it. So there is no surprise. So there will always be a set of stakeholders who would like to showcase what we are doing is not right. Negative. And some of us understand that and we stop doing it. Some of us don't understand and we do it. And some of us are doing it because we believe that is rightful. As opposition, I need to some cheap thrills, or it's basically an identity. So today, one of the big challenges for all of us is to be in the headlines. And that is how the media plays around. So if I have to be in headlines, either I have to do right or I have to do wrong, or I have to show you are wrong. So it is, so when the whole instinct of survival is there, right? So when my survival is at question, then I don't use conscience, I don't use ethics or dharma to do. So it is basically, I will go to the whatever I think is my base survival instinct, and I will use that as my judgment to go back and say something or do something. But interestingly, you will see that the same Narendra surrender. Next day, I think CNN, IBN or India Today, somebody did a poll to check. And 82% said that is fake narrative.
He spoke.
He spoke. And that was a big fear. And after that, you see that whole narrative is now changed. It is dumb. It's not working. So people do read about it. One of the biggest change that has happened in last 10 years because of social media and everything around this, there is a lot of information, both information and misinformation, both around us. But people who are smart, if I say educated enough, they know to make their choices based on that. So the challenge with most of us is in India is, if we think if I can't speak decent English, then I'm not smart enough, educated enough, or literate enough. And that's why we misjudge thinking, oh, 80% of Indians don't understand. But that's a myth. I don't need to know English to get politics in place or to understand what. So my mom is post standard part. She's 76 years old. But she understands every undercurrent of politics. She goes and votes when she comes back and she says, I did this, I did because this is the logic that I used. So people can read. So as much as it will be there for headlines for 2 or 3 days, but people understand some of these nuances.
And how does one relate to bhakti in terms of, is it bhakti for deities, for elders, for the profession or career that we have?
So in short is your 100% undivided love or devotion or samarpan to something which you believe. Why bhakti is required? Because bhakti basically is the ignition for seva and humility.
One see that.
Yes. So if you don't have bhakti, you will never have seva bhav. And if you don't have bhakti, you will never have humility. Because bhakti makes you believe that you are not there, you are there. And that is what humility drives. Why bhakti is important is because bhakti brings in excellence. So when you're devoted to something 100%, when you go and say, this is what my life is devoted to, that is when the excellence comes. Excellence doesn't come in fluke. Excellence comes with practice. So when you say bhakti and every day morning 4:30 I'll go for a walk, or bhakti I'll say every day 5 o'clock I will do the puja to my divinity, or I will go and do seva on weekends in terms of planting trees or going to elderly home and serving food or whatever it is, it brings that consistency, it brings that practice. So bhakti, why bhakti should be there is that you need to go and give that samarpan, because bhakti reminds you that you are not complete with yourself. You will only complete yourself when you align it to you a greater good or a greater cause. Otherwise, we are all individual souls which are floating, and the anchor will come through. And people who understand that are the ones. Now, bhakti, when you look at, there are multiple ways of exhibiting your bhakti, and you can choose whichever way. It could be prayers, it could be bhajan kirtan, it could be service, it could be anything. So it is not necessary that I have to have a God's photo and put some agarbattis, then only I have bhakti. No. People have shown various bhaktis in various forms, and you can choose whichever form you like. But you should have bhakti, because bhakti will always help you to. So one of the big things is when you have bhakti, it helps you to calm down. And since you are anchored to something, that anchor to something helps you to realize there is a greater good and a greater purpose around you. Because when you are floating around, one of the big things in corporate world is it's very lonely at the top. We don't realize, right? So we all were gunning for that role. So when we reach that role and when we look around, we realize we were the lone people. There is nobody there. And when you're lonely at the top, you need some anchors in life. Otherwise, you will quickly fall out from there. And that anchors come in form of bhakti. And that is why I always say people have bhakti mode. And you need to take time for yourself. And for that bhakti mode every day, 30 minutes is good enough. It could be a simple meditation to reading something to helping somebody to. The best food could be if you have a favorite god, or just have a conversation with him. You don't.
Reciting shlokas.
Oh yes, in one of those. Very calming by yourself. And if you're able to do it early in the mornings, you will realize your day is far better in control. Far better in control. The traffic jams, the road rages, those things will not really impact you. and it helps you to control things, the multiple variables you have around you. You are able to control much better, and that is why bhakti becomes that much important for us.
It was wonderful talking to Srini. My takeaway points are plenty. One is I did not know there was a shivling built by Rama in Rameshwaram. The second very interesting aspect that he spoke about is the Ram Sethu, sinking of Ram Sethu. This is not just the legacy that was let go, but it was an eye opener for me. So it was wonderful talking to Srini and many, many lessons that each one of us could learn from Ramayana and from this podcast. Thank you so much, Srini. It was wonderful talking to you. And the number of layers that you enlightened the audience. Thank you so much once again.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.